Look around you. So much of our modern world is new. New ideas, new buildings, new narratives. And that's great. Change is necessary for progress. The whole world gets it. So how is it possible that despite all this progress, we still learn in the exact same way our grandparents did? Our education is evolving so slowly. But why? What if your education could evolve and improve as quickly as the world around us does? What if your education was designed to help you discover who you really are? If students were created like co-creators instead of just products? If there was a space meant to build connections between teachers and students? A place where safe space doesn't mean you'll be shielded by censorship. Where liberty isn't just what you learn, but how. Your education should keep up with the rest of the world. And now, it can.
Nosotros con esta fundación queremos abrir nuevos caminos, que jóvenes de capas sociales bajas puedan acceder a tener otro futuro a través de su educación y de su profesión, otra vida en el futuro.
El acompañamiento de la beca se trata más que de un apoyo económico, mantenerse en contacto cercano, porque ellos, además de que me brindan pues la posibilidad de estudiar y de tener la beca, siempre están como preocupándose por mi bienestar y por todo lo que necesito para poder seguir adelante. La beca entonces me permite, la verdad, crecer en todos los sentidos y todos los aspectos de mi vida.
Today is a very happy and special day. First, we are launching a totally new initiative. Second, at today's event, we have over 120 participants, strategic partners, donors and friends, one ambassador, representatives from our partner schools, our foundation board, our local committees and our alumni associations, and finally, scholars and alumni of Fundación Educación. Third, we have a truly international audience. So welcome and thank you very much for being with us from all over the globe, from Switzerland, Germany, Israel, the USA, Peru, Colombia, El Salvador, and last but not least, Guatemala. All I can say is, wow. As you know from the invitation, we gave this event the name FED Talks. This follows the great example of the renowned TED Talks, whereby we slightly adapted the term with 3 letters from the name of our foundation. TED Talks, as you know, consists of posting talks online under the slogan, "Ideas Worth Spreading." The speakers are given a maximum speaking time to present their ideas in the most innovative and engaging ways they can. In the 26-year history of Fundación Educación, we have granted over 1,300 scholarships to talented young women and men from low-income families in Latin America. Nearly 1,200 of our alumni are meanwhile well-established and successful professionals. This achievement fills us with enormous pride, but also with much satisfaction. Taking this track record, it is clear that our scholars and alumni have hundreds of great stories to tell, hundreds of ideas worth spreading. This is how the idea to launch a series of FED Talks was created. We simply combined the abundant wealth of stories from our chicos, as we affectionately call them all, with technology, and bang, here we are. All of what we are going to experience today was made possible thanks to the untiring support of Gabriel Calzada, president of the Universidad Francisco Marroquín, Guatemala. When I first presented the idea to him some months ago, he was immediately fired up and offered his assistance. And wow, what an assistance we got. A whole team from the UFM, spearheaded by Maria Inés Castillo, Stephanie Falla, Emily Gularte, Esteban Cardona, and Carlos Francisco Lux, contacted me shortly after my chat with Gabriel, developed a concept, organized the whole technological setup, trained the speakers, and finally produced the whole show. Therefore, muchísimas gracias to you, Gabriel, and all of you from the UFM New Media team for making our first FED Talks happen. Our series of FED Talks will start off today with 3 speakers from Guatemala: Ligia Pamela Godoy, Luis Pedro Centeno, and Derek Salguero. What a wonderful and highly talented lineup. Thank you very much for being with us today. On that note, it is now my pleasure to hand over to our precious friend Gabriel, who will welcome you all from across the globe, from Guatemala. Thereafter, Maria Inés, our moderator of today, will take over. She will introduce our speakers and their topics to you and lead through the whole show. So now, sit back, relax, and enjoy, and above all, let yourself be inspired. Gabriel, the floor is yours.
Gracias, Ricardo. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. This is very exciting. It is very exciting because we are about to have an event that symbolizes a lot and represents a lot of what the effort that Fundación Educación and Universidad Francisco Marroquín, but also Fundación Educación and other universities have been doing over the years with tremendous success and not without very challenging moments that we have overcome and worked together in a way that have allowed dozens, hundreds of students to have a tremendous learning journey that I believe that will make possible a change in Latin America. I'm very excited about this event. We have been collaborating 12 years now between Fundación Educación and Universidad Francisco Marroquín. 12 years of collaboration, 12 years where we have learned how to make the most out of every donation that Fundación Educación has received in order to support those talented kids. And 12 years where we have had the tremendous pleasure of meeting these young, talented kids that have become brilliant entrepreneurs, professionals, and influencers in the region. We are going to have 3 stories today, as Ricardo was mentioning. 3 stories. Pamela Godoy, Derek Salguero, and Luis Pedro Centeno are going to present their stories. They're just 3 fabulous stories that represents many other stories that Fundación Educación has made possible. We have had, over these 12 years, 32 students that have been supported by Fundación Educación. we work with other foundations. Fundación Educación is not the only foundation we work with here at UFM, but I always say, and it's not because this is a FedEx, I always say, wherever I go, that when it comes to supporting students, Fundación Educación is the gold standard of supporting students at a university level, because it's the equivalent of smart money. It's a foundation that not only sends the financial support, but accompanies each of the students and the university through the journey that the students have in order to make those journeys a success for the students, a success for the country. Over the years, we have had 32 stories, like the 3 stories you're going to have, you're going to experience, you're going to know about. And this would not have been possible without Fundación Educación, without the support of Ricardo and his team, without Cristina Novales and Philip Berberat, without the whole team of Fundación Educación. And it would not be possible without the support of all of you who are supporting Fundación Educación to make the dream of those kids possible. So thank you all. Thank you all for your support to Fundación Educación. And thank you for making time and being here today.
Thank you, Gabriel, and thank you, Ricardo, for your words. I am Maria Inés Castillo, and I will be your moderator today. Welcome to everyone from Guatemala. Greetings to everyone in Colombia, Switzerland, Peru, El Salvador, and many, many other countries. We are very excited for you to hear our wonderful speakers today. Before I begin introducing our first speaker, I would like to encourage you all to post questions for our speakers, since they will be joining us for question and answer sessions on the comment section on either YouTube or Facebook. And now I introduce our first speaker, Pamela. Pamela holds a degree in entrepreneurial engineering and graduated magna cum laude from UFM in 2013. She also holds a master's degree in engineering and innovation management from Universidade Federal do ABC in Brazil. Since graduating, she has held positions at large multinational companies like Procter & Gamble and Colombina. She currently works as innovation coordinator at Grupo Progreso, a multinational cement company. Pamela is passionate about corporate social responsibility and helping others, and has always been a dedicated and responsible person. And now with you, Pamela.
Everything's a wheel, turning and turning, never stopping. This is one of the many lessons that Natalie Babbitt shares with us in her novel Talk Everlasting, a story about a young girl who faces the tough decision of choosing between everlasting life or letting her life go as it should. Everything's a wheel, turning and turning, never stopping. I read that as a kid when I was in school and learned it by memory. Little did I know that life would make me live it in the flesh. If you're like me, you're probably always planning. I've got to do this and that for work. Next weekend I have a meeting with friends. I've got to pay for that next month, and so on. I'm constantly planning. And I don't do that only for day-to-day agenda. I do that for life. When I was 15, I used to say that I was going to get married at 25, have children by 26, have my own house and run my own company by 30, and so on. Then I also said that I would travel around the world, and so on. And I truly believe that building plans is important because it gives you direction and it actually allows you to accomplish your goals. Yet, we have to let go the illusion of control. So, what is this illusion of control? According to Pete Wilson in his book Plan B, the illusion of control is that feeling of losing control when your dreams are unfulfilled, or when our expectations are unsatisfied, or simply when life doesn't go as we thought it would. Yet, the truth is, we have never had control. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of times when my life didn't go as planned. I used to work at P&G, the largest multinational consumer goods company, as a sales representative. I had a very lucrative salary at my age. I led a team of around 30 people, and I simply loved my job. Yet, I also had a dream of going to Africa as a volunteer. And at that time, there was this NGO that sent every year 2 volunteers to Tanzania. I talked about this with my family, my boss, and my peers, and finally, I decided that I was going to quit to pursue my dream. It was a risky decision because this NGO managed it as a contest. So several people applied, then they went through several tryouts, and finally, they chose 2 people. When I applied, we were 7 candidates. We prepared ourselves for around 2 months, and finally, guess what? I wasn't chosen. I was devastated. I had left this amazing job, and now I didn't have the job, I didn't have the volunteer program, and simply everything was gone. I kept on asking to myself, why did I do this? How irrational of me. How could that happen to me? So it took a couple of years to overcome this, but then I decided to go after another dream. I wanted to study my master's degree abroad and earn a scholarship. So I started applying, and I started receiving the answers as well. Thanks for applying, but you were not chosen. Your application was unsuccessful. You are accepted, but you didn't get the scholarship. So I simply got frustrated, and I started thinking that I was going to study my master's degree in my country. Yet, Facebook knew my search patterns, and one day, an ad about a scholarship from the Organization of American States popped up. I had thought that I was going to study in Guatemala, but then there was this thought that kept on telling me, apply for the last time. And so I did. And then 4 months after that, I received an email that said, Dear selected candidate for the OAS scholarship. I must admit that after so many no's, I was skeptical. I must confess that I didn't even remember what university or what program had I applied to. So it was not Chile, it was not Germany, it was not New Zealand or Australia, but it was Brazil. I was going to study my master's degree in engineering and innovation program at the Federal University of ABC in Sao Paulo. Sometimes opportunities open up ahead of us, even without planning them. At that point, I learned that quitting my job at P&G, not going to Africa as a volunteer, and not getting the scholarship from all of these places that I applied to was simply the path that I needed to go through to accomplish my dream. Under different circumstances, unexpected but wonderful circumstances. So what did I learn about these 2 experiences? First of all, I learned that I have to be humble at all times. Life doesn't always go as we think. Then, I learned that family and friends are our greatest cheerleaders, especially when we feel that the world is falling apart. I remember I was 26 and I was crying inside my parents' bed because of this. But here there was my safety net holding me tight and telling me to keep on hoping and keep on applying. I also learned to let go, that control is just an illusion. And finally, now I recognize that I developed different character traits when I came out of my comfort zone. I know that today I am a stronger woman compared to the Pamela of that time. So let's remember that the only thing that's constant in life is change. And if life is constantly moving, so should we. We have to learn to adapt, make iterations, and keep on moving forward, even if there is any difficulty. And that is called resilience. We have to learn not to get frustrated, but to navigate in this sea of uncertainty. And also, remember to make a stop and reflect on the different lessons that we have learned throughout the journey. Let's be hopeful for the future. As Natalie Babbitt also said, that's life. Moving, growing, changing. Never the same 2 minutes together. Thanks for listening to a little bit of my story.
Hi, Pamela.
Hi,
How are you?
Good.
It's so nice to be sitting here with such a successful and determined woman. So I have a couple questions for you.
Thank you very much.
How important is it that Fundación Educación fosters young women?
Well, there are many young women who are very intelligent, passionate, energetic, but that don't have the resources to fulfill their dreams. So it's very important that Fundación Educación and all its partners support the education of many young women who are capable of transforming their environments.
That's great. And what do you think the future role of women in Latin America should be? You're such a successful person who has held so many positions at large multinational companies. So what is your take on what the role of women should be?
Nowadays, many women are already making a difference in their families, their schools or colleges, their jobs, their countries. So for sure, I believe that in the close future, many women will be occupying even more leadership positions.
Yeah. And what is your dream regarding the role of women in Latin America?
My dream is that all Latin American women will have access to high quality education and jobs that will help them achieve their goals and make an impact in their own lives, their families, and their communities.
Thank you so much, Pamela, for joining us and for giving us your story about how life doesn't always go as expected, but we should always be open to new changes.
For sure, and thank you for this space and for allowing me to share a little bit of my story.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And now we continue with our next talk. Before we begin, I'd like to encourage you all to post your questions for our next two speakers, Luis Pedro and Derek. And now, Derek. Derek Salguero majored in entrepreneurship with a minor in marketing and graduated magna cum laude from UFM in 2019. He is a candidate for a master's degree in finance from the UFM School of Business. Derek is working as a financial analyst at CVC, a multinational beverage company. He is also a curious, ambitious, and energetic person who is driven by the desire to overcome expectations. He loves the great outdoors, arts, and adventure. And now his TED Talk, Dream Without Limits, Derek.
Hola, mi nombre es Derek Salguero. Soy un joven guatemalteco, procrastinador por naturaleza, un soñador por profesión y un desastre por talento. Desde que era muy pequeño, mis papás me enseñaron que el único que podría ponerse límites a sí mismo sería yo. Me empoderaron desde esa edad a creer en el valor de los sueños sin imponer límites a ellos. Pero hicieron mucho énfasis en que el único interesado en lograr esos sueños y transformarlos en objetivos sería yo. Que yo era el único responsable de hacerme cargo de esas grandes metas. Así que hoy vengo a hablarles de que nunca debemos de ponernos límites a nuestros sueños. Debemos de soñar en grande. Pero después de soñar debemos de actuar y estar dispuestos a vivir con las consecuencias que hayan traído nuestros actos. Soñar en grande es un tema que ha generado mucha discusión. Y muchos hablan de que soñar en pequeño cuesta la misma energía que soñar en grande. Pero hacerlo, y hacerlo sin límites, tiene un valor que va más allá de la comprensión de la mayoría. Porque muchas veces nos atrevemos a soñar únicamente bajo los prejuicios ilimitantes que nos ha impuesto la sociedad, nuestra familia, nuestro contexto, el país en el que nacemos, la educación que tenemos. Pero abrir tu mente a una oportunidad más grande, más allá de lo que puedes comprender en este momento, es darle cabida suelta a soñar. Es fácil divagar por horas, durante un día entero, soñando en las posibilidades. Y cuando empiezas a hacerte a la idea de que esas posibilidades, esos sueños sin límites, pueden traerse a la realidad, es que se descubre el valor que tiene el soñar. Vengo de una familia con un trasfondo que cabe en cualquier estereotipo de un país tercermundista. Una familia que, rodeada de pobreza, trajo una herencia de una mentalidad muy cerrada. Una mentalidad que muchas veces te impide ver las posibilidades que van más allá de tu capacidad de alcanzar hoy en día. Sin embargo, gracias a unos muy buenos padres que me enseñaron el valor del trabajo y de soñar en grande, he logrado alcanzar cosas inimaginables. Es muy normal en un país tercermundista darte cuenta de lo difícil que es alcanzar metas altas, lo difícil que es alcanzar una buena educación, lo difícil que es alcanzar las oportunidades culturales que uno desea. Pero cuando uno empieza a pensar en lo que quiere alcanzar y no en lo que no tiene para lograrlo, es que uno puede encontrar qué es lo que puede hacer. Y es ahí donde sin límites y con la mente amplia, desde muy pequeño decidí que iba a soñar en grande y que iba a alcanzar lo que soñara. Y en tan solo 23 años he podido ganar becas internacionales, he podido ganar becas nacionales, he podido ganar concursos internacionales, he podido ser parte de cientos de iniciativas benéficas, he podido hacer cientos de ascensos en diferentes volcanes, montañas, he sido parte de diferentes eventos artísticos, he sido ganador de múltiples reconocimientos, he sido representante de múltiples organizaciones y he visto cómo en la vida no hay límites. He podido conocer el mundo, he podido conocer diferentes culturas y conocer a mucha gente. Porque nunca me quedé con la idea que lo que tenía a mi disposición era lo único que podía alcanzar. Pero para alcanzarlas se tiene que hacer algo al respecto. Y me niego a la idea de creer que lo que la sociedad te impone que deberías de ser es lo único que puedes alcanzar. Porque en base al trasfondo que tengo, en base a la vida que se podía decir que podía llegar a tener, la aspiración que yo debería de estar viviendo hoy en día era muy diferente. Pero aún rodeado de un mundo de prejuicios y limitantes, atreverte a creer, no, yo quiero algo más grande, te da la oportunidad a hacer algo al respecto. Porque cuando uno sueña, puede hacer algo al respecto. Y es allí donde aprendí el valor de actuar, el valor de tomar el paso para acercarte a ese sueño. A veces puede ser tocar una puerta, a veces puede ser mandar una aplicación, a veces puede ser insistir una y otra vez en un mismo lugar. Pero cuando uno vive con la convicción de que los sueños que tiene los puede alcanzar y son lo suficientemente retadores para sacarte de tu zona de confort, es que uno puede empezar a imaginarse y ser creativo de cómo lograrlo. Y es por eso que después de soñar en grande hay que actuar y animarse a actuar congruentemente a la grandeza de ese sueño. Aunque sea loca, aunque sea arriesgada, sin importar que a veces no lo vamos a alcanzar. Porque aunque en un día he logrado alcanzar grandes cosas y en una semana he transformado mi vida muchas veces, en otras llevo años y no lo he logrado. En otras ha pasado un gran porcentaje de mi vida y todavía no se ha dado. Pero me niego a creer que porque algo no sucede hoy, o no sucede mañana, o no pasará en este año, no puede llegar a suceder. ¿Y qué más da? O sea, ¿qué más da que el sueño lo pueda transformar y seguir soñando en grande y que pueda alcanzar y aprender? Porque en algunas lo voy a lograr y en otras no lo voy a lograr. Pero mientras siga viviendo apasionada e intensamente con la convicción de que puedo alcanzar ese sueño, lo seguiré haciendo una y otra vez. Y ahí es donde se descubre el valor que las consecuencias de atrevernos a actuar en pro de alcanzar esos sueños valen la pena. Valen la pena porque nos acercan un poquito más y nos podemos disfrutar el proceso. Vivo apasionada e intensamente mi vida. Disfruto del tiempo porque vivo soñando, vivo actuando por mis sueños y estando consciente que tal vez no sea hoy o tal vez no sea mañana, pero nunca voy a dejar de soñar. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Derek, for that inspiring talk. It's always very important to dream without limits. And now for our third and final speaker, Luis Pedro. Luis Pedro Centeno is a third-year entrepreneurial engineering student at UFM. He has worked as an innovation and organizational culture consultant in various companies and works as a facilitator in leadership activities for the Franklin Covey Institute in Guatemala. Luis Pedro characterizes himself as an empathetic listener and loves to help others. And now, for our final talk, Heart-to-Heart Connections, Luis Pedro.
I want you to think about a song that has spoken to your heart, one that you thought it was written for you the first time you listened to it. What song comes to your mind? Have you ever asked yourself why? Why this song? Maybe at first the answer seems obvious. You really like the song. But if you dig deeper, you realize that songs tell us what we want to hear in a very creative way. In my case, my go-to song is Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. The moment when I hear the beat of the drums, I start to think about the most difficult challenge that I'm facing. And don't ask me why, but it instantly motivates me to fight. Songs are a special way of communication. In my opinion, one that speaks directly to the heart. And here is the key, the heart. While I was growing up, I noticed that my type of communication was very different from others. My mother always reminds me that on the first day of kindergarten, while all the kids were crying for their moms, I was passing one by one, sharing them a hug and some words of encouragement. I imagined something like, don't worry, it's gonna be okay, calm down, but actually only my mom knows what I really said that day. What I want to say is that I decided to see communication as the most powerful way to connect with people. In the last 5 years, I've been involved with different leadership groups, teams, and professionals. My main goal has been to build an environment free from all the gossip, prejudice, and paradigms, and make it more open to this connection that I've talked about. I have named this way of communication between teams and professionals heart-to-heart connections. At first, it was not a concept that I built to write a book or an article to explain the steps. I just knew that heart-to-heart connections is a path that you can decide to follow to design your life and all the personal relationships it may create. You may have heard this term before, but it's not usually applied in the workplace. However, it can really make the difference to improve team performance. I understood this last year while I was working as a consultant in a technology company here in Guatemala, and they gave me exactly this challenge: create an environment that improved team performance. At first, it seemed a hard task, because I barely knew the team. I helped the company during the quarantine of the pandemic, so all of my first meetings were virtual, and only a few members turned their cameras on. Actually, something very usual during the virtual meetings today. But for a person like me that needs to create real connections with people, this was a difficult challenge. So I decided to organize a face-to-face activity with all the safety protocols and everything else. The activity was called the Why Mural. I took the idea from Jeff Hoffman, global entrepreneur and motivational speaker. The activity consisted in asking everyone to bring a picture that represented their why. Why were they working in the company? And the idea was to share all the whys and paste them in the wall, with the promise that one day they were supposed to be taken off because the whys were already achieved or accomplished. The day of the activity, I really didn't know what to expect. I was just hoping that they took the activity seriously. But it all started as planned. Actually, I could feel the anxiety of everyone to share their whys. Each and every team member took their turn. And being honest, some years later, I finally understood the concept of heart-to-heart connections. Many of the whys were very unexpected and powerful for me. They were things like to provide a decent home to a family, or to be worthy enough to see your daughter again, or to be able to travel back to a native country, or they were just simple dreams that would make them and their family happy. That day, we all created a heart-to-heart connection. Sharing our whys made us to get to really know each other. It crossed the barrier of the daily work role. Since that day, I felt that I was not only working for me and my personal goals, but I was also working to help my coworkers achieve theirs. I felt, with some affection I may say, that my role in the company was very important to help my teammates grow in a personal and in a professional way. But that connection was even more powerful when I noticed that they felt the same about me. That day, the 14 team members felt valuable. They felt important for the company because in some way, they found other 13 reasons for them to make their best in their roles. Heart-to-heart connections consist in the questions, the way we ask them, the interest we show in other people, the respect we show to their ideas, the participation we give them in a meeting. It is all about the details. As leaders, CEOs, and team members, we have in our hands the possibilities to create these connections, actions that will make our partners feel valuable, important, and encouraged. Heart-to-heart connections is all about empathy. It's about making people believe that you believe in them. But it's not a skill that you can apply as a method in a meeting. It is a decision that you have to make every day in the form you want to communicate with people. After this activity, I realized that heart-to-heart connections is not necessarily related to face-to-face interactions. Once we as a team gave a step forward to our relationships, even the virtual meetings were exciting and interesting. We just have to pay attention in what type of communication we want to create. Is it only a virtual connection, social media interaction, a like, or a message, or is it related to the heart of the person that is in the other side? We are living in a globalized and digital world that is constantly changing, so it's very important that we ask this question. Now that I'm 21, I can assure you that I'll still have that 2-year-old heart, looking for someone in the need of a hug, a word of encouragement, or a piece of advice. But what is most important is that I understand that if I care about other people, their goals, and their ideas, I have the power to make my family, friends, and teammates perform better in their daily lives. And the surprise is that they can do the same for me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, be here.
Thank you all for your talks. Those were both great talks. Thank you, Luis Pedro, and thank you, Derek. Luis Pedro, I also love Eye of the Tiger like you, and Derek, your speech is always very inspiring. You're a great person, and I'm so proud to see such young people be so successful at such a young age. So let's begin with some questions. To everyone in our audience, if you have any questions for Luis Pedro and Derek, please post them in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook. So, tell us, either of you, in what way has Fundación Educación influenced your life? Luis Pedro, you can give us a perspective as a current student, and Derek, you can give us your perspective as a scholar and graduate from UFM and Fundación Educación.
I
don't know.
Derek, give me go.
Sorry. Well, I have been really blessed by Fundación Educación because since
I think we lost Derek, but Luis Pedro, do you want to continue or tell us what the impact of the foundation and UFM has been on your life?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think that values like commitment and excellence are some of the values that I truly have lived since I am in Fundación Educación. Are words that are repeatedly told in meetings.
I want all the stuff.
And yeah, so commitment is a word that I've learned how to live, and especially as a student, a commitment is an important word. So yeah.
That's wonderful, and welcome back, Derek. Do you want to? It's okay. As Luis Pedro said in his talk, that's the bad part about virtual meetings. But I'm so happy to be able to have everyone here from Ricardo from Switzerland and everyone who's joining us from around the world. So Derek, do you want to tell us?
Yeah. Sorry, had and turned it. Well, but I had the chance to meet a lot of wonderful people, and they have been mentoring me since I was in school, and they have really impacted my life, not just in the academic way. I have had the chance to meet people that had an impact for the rest of my life, in my personal, academic, and professional life. They have taught me a lot of lessons that maybe it will take me a lot of years to learn, and they have led me discover a new world of opportunities that I have never noticed I could have. Ricardo once said to me a lot of advices to how to go to interviews while I was looking for a job. And that was something that I could never imagine it could be a good strategy until I got the chance to hear from him. And Christina has been always there for me, talking about how to encourage my personal life, how to have a better relationship with my parents. She has been like part of my personal, my academic, and my professional life. And I know that it's an opportunity to improve all my quality of life. So I can say that Fundación Educación is not just a fundación for education. It's a fundación that helps the people in all the ways that it can. And it has a lot of resources because they have the most amazing team. They have people who is behind the team in Switzerland, which are just amazing people. We are just prepared, and they are amazing, and they have like this heart for all of us that can change us, our lives, our life quality, our opportunities for the rest of our lives. And nowadays I can see all the benefits that it have had in my life. So Fundación is like one of the best opportunities that I have already had in my life.
Thank you, Derek. I completely agree with you. I love working with the local team, and I'm sure all of the teams in Peru, Colombia, and El Salvador are also amazing. And the support that they provide you, the emotional support and professional support that they provide you is great. And speaking of that, Luis Pedro, now that you're in your third year, you must be thinking about what your next steps in your professional life are going to be. Do you have what are your dreams for after graduation, since you're almost there?
Well, I have many dreams. I can't choose one, but truly believe me that what I tell you is maybe my biggest dream. I want to work in any company. It doesn't matter if it's small, if it's big. I just want to try to have the opportunity to share my type of leadership in any of the companies where I can be and where they can lend me to work. I think that this type of leadership can bring many impacts to the people that's working. It really improves team performance. So I have many dreams, many dream companies. I can tell you many of them: Tesla, Google. I would love to work for them. But yeah, let's see what happens. I will fight for it. Believe me, I will really fight for it.
I know you will, Luis Pedro. So we have a question from Carla Castillo de Jes on YouTube. For both of you, what two advices will you give the next generations? Derek?
Well, I could say the same preacher have been saying. It's like never stop dreaming. You have to dream big, and you have to give the chance to your mind to learn a lot of new things so you can dream bigger. So don't stop thinking that what you know today is everything that's around in the world. Just go out of your comfort zone. Try to learn something new, learn a new language, learn a new sport, learn art, something new. You just have to do something new every day. And maybe next day you will be able to dream about something you were not able a few years ago, because that's how the mind works. You have to evolve every day, because the only thing that's for sure is change. So you have to keep evolving and changing every day if you want to be more prepared for the rest of your life. Maybe that's my advice.
Thank you, Derek. What about you, Luis Pedro?
Well, my advice is very simple. Find your why. And I want to explain. For example, when someone buys to your product, they don't buy to you because of the product. They buy it because why did you sell the product? Just like Apple, for example. Apple tells you why you want to buy their product. But the same happens with people. People will buy what you say, not because you say it, but because of why you say it. So you really need to find your strong why. And related to the talk that you saw, I think that finding your why is the best way to start to create heart-to-heart connections with people. So definitely that would be my advice. Find a strong why for your life.
Yeah, that's great advice from both of you. Derek, you're the king of stepping out of your comfort zone. I think we all from your Dream Without Limits talk. And Luis Pedro, I know that your powerful message from Heart to Heart Connections is something that will transcend to other generations. We have a question from Cristina Tot for Luis Pedro. What is the most important thing you've learned at UFM so far?
I think that many things definitely, but the the importance of everyone's opinion, the importance of everyone's perspective. I think that it's one of the most important parts that I can take from the UFM. I still have a year, maybe I'll learn something more valuable, but for now, I think that listening to everyone's perspective gives you actually the big picture to take action in what you want to create. So if I can tell you one right now, the first one that comes to my mind is the different perspectives that everyone has in the university, and the freedom we have to share our perspectives, which is very important also.
Thank you. I agree with you. Being at UFM opens your mind to hearing other points of view and perspectives. And what about you, Derek? What was the most important lesson you learned at UFM in your 4 years there?
Maybe since day one of the best lessons I heard it was that the characteristics that UFM alumni had, it's first of all, their intellectual curiosity. They are always wondering why things work the way they work, how we can improve that. And that desire to understand new things is one of those characteristics that all the UFM alumni have. And the second one, it's networking. There's an invaluable way to understand networking. It adds so much to your life. Like Luis Pedro said, talking to new people opens your mind. Talking to new people opens you a new job. Talking to new people opens you an opportunity. Everything is about people. And when we learn that we have to understand the things and be capable to talk with the people and be capable to work with the people, we can do something a lot better. So maybe that's one of the most important advices I heard in the UFM and have led my life to where I am on today.
Thank you. Those are great lessons, and I completely agree with you. So we have a couple of comments, not questions, from the public. Emily Gularte, who is part of the new media team, is so proud of everyone. Amazing stories, very impacted and encouraged by all the speakers. A big hug from Guatemala. Cristina Novales, she is congratulating Derek for an excellent message. You are a young man who always achieves what he sets out to. And Luis Pedro, speechless. Congratulations. And from Sandra Valencia, stories of from our our youth are always inspiring. Thank you, Fundación Educación, for this great initiative. And we have a question from Diana Prado on Facebook. Hi all, great event, amazing and inspiring stories. Question for both of you. What has been the biggest challenge during the university and how did you overcome it?
Derek, I think you may start with this one because you graduated already. I'm still dealing with the challenges, I think.
It's funny because maybe the challenge, it depends on who you are and what you want to do. Because I had like this travel that I love all the courses that I haven't in university, but the time was limited. So even though I tried to get extra courses in the university, it was not enough. I wanted to learn more. And the university have so much options and have such a good networking that I was always in internships and a lot of events, a lot of conferences. So I was never able to have enough time to whatever I wanted to do. So maybe my biggest challenge was how to say no to big opportunities, because university have so much value to add to your life that maybe learning how to say which I have to prioritize was some of the biggest challenges I had. Because the academic way, it's something really important. We have some of the best teachers in the world in a lot of topics. So they have so much to add to your life. I had a lot of teachers which we used to get out and drink a coffee and talk for hours, but the day has only 24 hours. So how am I supposed to drink a coffee, get into my courses, also get my job done, and at what time I gonna sleep? You know, it's maybe the time. It's one of the hardest way and the hardest challenges I had in the university. And maybe then everything is like just something you enjoy to do. I enjoyed the challenges, so it was part of what I wanted to do. But yeah, learning how to deal with the time, being always responsible with the deadlines, that's maybe one of the biggest challenge I had. And also because I'm a disaster, so it doesn't help when you're a procrastinator. But it was my challenge, my biggest challenge.
Thank you, Derek. What about you, Luis Pedro, in your 3 years?
Well, let me tell you that I can't agree more with Derek. I think that he said what actually is challenge maybe for everyone in the university, especially at UFM. We have the blessing that they gave us amazing opportunities, and we have a lot of opportunities in the table. And I think that the problem is not how to say no. I think that the biggest challenge is to choose, because all of them are great opportunities, and definitely the time is one of the biggest challenges. I mean, one of the biggest barriers. But yeah, choosing between all of the opportunities that we have here at UFM, I think that has been one of the most difficult challenges that I've been facing during these 3 years that I've been.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are so many activities going on at UFM and so many great people to talk to that, like Derek said, 24 hours doesn't seem like enough time to work and to take advantage of every opportunity. But Derek, you graduated magna cum laude, so that's a huge deal. You were able to balance it out. And Luis Pedro, I can't say anything about your grades. They're amazing. One of the best students at UFM. So a question for both of you again, from Emily Gularte. What is a current struggle or fear that you see young people face when pursuing their dreams, and how can they combat this?
The mental barriers, because sometimes they think that the only way to solve a problem, it's like the ideal way to solve it. But there are so many creative ways to approach new challenges that sometimes you think that they know all the answers. And when you're young, you don't know almost anything. So you have to learn a lot of things, and you have to be creative. You have to be able to ask for an advice and look for a different perspective to approach a new challenge. So maybe like being humble enough to approach a challenge that it's important for you, it implies ask for an advice to someone who has a longer period of time in the same challenge you want to get involved. So maybe that's one of the most important challenges. And the other one, it's like they are so accustomed to all the easy things. We all want everything to be fast, everything, because we are accustomed to 30 seconds video. We're accustomed to a lot of likes in the social networks. We're accustomed to express food. We're accustomed that everything has to be fast and fast in our time. And we're always wanting to say it has to be faster. So maybe being patient enough, being humble enough, it's one of the biggest challenges when you are accustomed to have all the resources that the technology have add to our lives, and thinking in a creative way when you approach a new challenge.
Thank you, Derek. Luis Pedro, do you have any advice?
I try to have a short answer. I see this question reflected in my 16-year-old brother. My brother is always like, oh, I want to do this, but imagine if this happens. I'm not if I'm prepared for that. Or what if I do this? And he's insecure of taking decisions. And it's obvious. Next generations, my generation also, has many options to choose, as I was telling you before. They have many tools. They have many platforms. They have the internet. That's everything. So maybe one of their difficult challenges is actually to choose. That's why it's very important for them to find their mission, to find their why, actually to find what they want for life and take those decisions since they're young. And yeah, that's it. That's my answer for that.
Oh, thank you, Luis Pedro. Actually, your answer leads us perfectly into the next question. You were saying that you like to give advice to your younger brother on your based on your experiences and everything you've learned. So, a question from Lisa Hankel on Facebook: what do you think your impact has been on your fellow classmates?
Um, well, I want to believe that I've helped them, but let me tell you something. In my classes, I try to participate as much as I can because I think that I have that skill and I love to talk. I love to participate. And I think that one of the biggest impacts that my friends have told me is that you told something that I thought that I was not prepared to say, or yeah, maybe sometimes I try to help them with something that they don't understand, but that's not like an impact during the class. But what I want to tell you is speaking is very important, and not many people are used to speaking in classes. So I try to share the most value that I can create in classes, and hopefully that helps my classmates.
Thank you, Lispero. What about you, Derek? Now that you're a young professional and out in the real world, what do you think your impact was on your fellow classmates?
Well, it has been really, really weird when you start to analyze these sort of things. Because when I was in school, I was same as Luis Pedro. I was the one was always asking for new things, trying to answer everything that the teacher asked, was ready for everything, and with this desire to learn more. But also, I was the one who was with my friends when they were just about to lose the courses, helping with them to study for the exam and helping to get prepared for the quizzes and helping them as a tutor. And it was really cool because when I got out of the school, a lot of my friends, a lot of my teammates, a lot of the parents of my teammates and the parents of my friends wanted to offer me a job. That was something new because I didn't knew that my academic life will have such an impact in my friends and that will have such an impact in the enterprises that were related with them. So they offer me jobs. And also nowadays, a lot of my teammates and friends want to do business with me. So it's something really important when you try to see how the impact of your academic life can transform for completely your future. Because I wasn't that guy that was like saying, "Oh, he didn't do his job, he didn't make his work." No, I was, "Bro, what do you need? Can I help you with something?" And there's always someone who's in need, and there's always someone who has this heart to help them. And if they always want to give you back. Um, at that time, I didn't make it for the extra benefit it will have in the future. I make it because they were my friends. But nowadays, I see a huge return on that investment, and maybe that impact changed their lives because they were able to get out of the school, and nowadays they're helping me how to achieve my goals out of the school.
Thank you, Derek, and thank you, Luis Pedro. You both sound like great people to have in a classroom. The ones who always motivate you to participate and get those participation points and do and put your best effort and get good grades. So I'm very proud and happy to hear that both of you are great students in the classroom. I have a comment from Medellin, Colombia, from Universidad de Afit. Such inspiring conferences. Thanks, Fundación Educación, for empowering us to change. Thanks for inspiring us, and thanks for making our dreams come true. And one final question for both of you, and I will challenge you to say it in 5 words maximum. What is the best way to inspire your loved ones, friends, and people around you? And this question is also from Medellin, Colombia.
Heart-to-heart connections. More way.
What about you, Derek?
Living the way I think and the way I spread the world.
That's great. That's great advice for your loved ones. I think the biggest challenge is keeping it to less than 5 words, right? So with that, I'd like to end this Q&A session. Thank you to everyone from around the world for tuning in and for posting your questions. And thank you, Luis Pedrick and Derek and Pamela, for giving us your inspirational talks. I've enjoyed them so much, and for giving us some time for this Q&A session. So thank you. And now some closing words from Ricardo.
Good. Well, thank you very much once again. Probably like many of you, you're somehow close to tears when you hear about our chicos. So thank you. I'd like to start by thanking Pamela, Luis Pedro, and Derek for your outstanding and inspiring speeches. I think we just all enjoyed them very much. And for us at Fundación Educación, it always fills us with great joy to see how you and many other of our chicos grabbed the opportunity of a higher education to change not only your lives, but also the lives of many others. All of you are perfect examples of what we aim at, creating role models for many other young talents to follow, or as our slogan says, empowering talent for change. And we all know Latin America indeed needs change. So once again, I'd like to thank Gabriel Calzada and his very, very dedicated team at the UFM, Maria Inés, Stephanie, Emily, Esteban, and Carlos Francisco for organizing and producing today's event, and this is the most important thing probably in life, for turning an idea that was created some time ago into reality. As mentioned to you, today marks the beginning of a series of FET Talks. And obviously, we all hope that you enjoyed today's premiere as much as we did. I certainly did a lot. On behalf of all of us at Fundación Educación, I thank you very much for being with us today, as I said, from all over the globe. And we would be delighted to welcoming you again at our future FET Talks. So please stay tuned for your next invitation. Finally, I take the opportunity to thank you all for your interest and support over all these years. This means a lot to us. It's thanks to you that our whole team of meanwhile 30 dedicated persons, almost all volunteers, can do its work and systematically achieve the high performance of our program, the high performance you can expect from Fundación Educación. In that sense, we all hope that whatever we do at Fundación Educación is also for you an idea worth spreading. Again, muchísimas gracias to all. Happy day or happy evening, whatever the case may be, and see you soon again. Thank you very much.